I'm so glad you guys are back again. Everybody filtering in, thanks for coming in. We're already live in the Facebook page at Lab Coat Agents. You know what, Brian? I need to check the folder. I didn't even think about this. I know that we've started posting the link to have people upload calls again. So let me check that out. I have a call today that I want to listen to where there was, it's an agent that needs training on the seller already set an appointment with, it's a home light lead. And for anybody who doesn't work home light leads, basically home light is one of those where you have to accept it really quickly, or it gets sent out to some other agent or even multiple agents. And so if you don't get that set with them, oftentimes when you follow up, they will have already set an appointment with somebody. That's the case in this call that we're going to listen to. And obviously this agent needs more training on how to deal with a situation where somebody's already set an appointment. So let me check I'm going to check the folder now too, Brian. What are you working on today?
So I've got it's actually a Zillow call, and it's an interesting thing. I don't know this for a fact, but I've got to believe that some people are dealing with this. So we've got a house that is actually overpriced, and I pulled comps on it. It's not hugely overpriced.
You have an overpriced house in I thought that was impossible.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of overpriced houses that are still selling.
But that doesn't mean they're overpriced.
Fair enough. Let me rephrase that then. If I were to comp this house out, I would have listed it for less. How about that?
Got it. There we go.
So, but the house has been it went pending, and then it came back on the market, and now it shows 16 days on the market. And, the potential buyer's perception of that was, oh my God, we can lowball this. And so it's an interesting conversation to listen to. And I think there's some opportunities because although you and I do this every single day, and we realize that trying to buy a house for less than asking price is next to impossible, not impossible, but next to impossible.
Right.
The public doesn't necessarily know that. And I think we have to be careful of when we educate. And what I mean by that is if I get somebody on the phone and they say, hey, I want to offer 250, the house is listed for 260. Most agents are going into this whole idea of nope. And basically you haven't earned the right to do that yet, I guess is my point. And I like some of the things that this agent did, and he didn't push this person away. And I think that's really important because sometimes we overeducate when we haven't earned the right. They don't know us. We're not responsible. Who's Brian Curtis? Like, why should I listen to him?
Right.
And, we have to be careful not to scare people away, and they just go hang up and call somebody else. So I think this agent did a really good job with some of that stuff, but there's always room for improvement. And I think it's a really interesting conversation. And the other thing is we're going to start having this conversation more near the end of the year, right? Theoretically, like as inventory increases. And, for example, we saw almost a 10% increase in inventory week over week. And now that may be an anomaly.
Oh.
But, when granted, that's going from 500 houses to 550 houses, but, it's still, it's an increase in inventory. And as inventory increases, what's happening now is going to decrease, right? We're going to have less of, I got 27 offers in 6 minutes. That's going to start to change.
I hope that it does. But then what you're saying is that there's going to be a re-education period for sellers.
There's going to be a re-education for sellers, and there's just going to be the buyers are going to, everyone looks on the sunny side of things. 08 is arguably the worst year in real estate in my career, maybe 09, so in that time frame. But 10 years later, I still had people talking about how the market was a buyer's market. Well, it hadn't been a buyer's market for 8 or 9 years. Right. Realistically, it probably became an equalized market in about 2012, 2013, and then 2014 on, it's been a seller's market. But all through 14, 15, 16, 17, I had people tell me how it was a buyer's market. So, people believe what they want to believe. Now, no seller told me that, but every buyer I talked to talked about how it was a buyer's market. So, not everyone, but a lot of them. So, anyway.
Yeah. Great. All right. So I'll go first if you don't mind.
Go, by all means.
Let me see here. Where's, oh crap, I just lost it. I had the right folder open and I lost it. So I think this is a really good example to listen to because oh, wait a minute. Hold on, everybody. We just have like technical difficulties of me forgetting what I was doing. Anyway, it's a good one because you can really hear that this agent is just missing training and doesn't exactly know how to do it. And the funny thing is, when you listen to what he does. I don't want to give too much away. I'm talking because I'm trying to fill air while I find this. Wait, I found it. There we go. All right, let's play this. Yeah, I don't want to keep talking and give too much away.
Hello.
Hello, is this Ronald?
Yeah.
And Ronald
Can you hear that?
Max in the Moldenhauer. We received a notification through Home Light a couple days ago that you were looking to sell your house in Springdale.
Yeah, I already talked to a sales realtor.
Okay.
Coming in tomorrow. So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Are you
I was
interviewing?
at work when I did all that.
All right, so he said, I already talked to a real estate agent, is coming in tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
Now, Ryan, you and I have enough experience, a lot of sales experience and a lot of training experience. We know what that means. We know what perspective this person has, right? The perspective this person has is, you know what? I talked to one person, they sound good enough, they're coming to my house, and as long as they don't screw it up, I'm listing it with them, right, Brian?
Absolutely. And there's some huge opportunities here. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, they were not capitalized on, but that's why it's on cash call.
There you go.
But I just wanted to point this out because in the training of that agent, I hear it immediately. You hear it immediately. You and I know exactly what the perspective of this guy is. We kind of understand that it's path of least resistance for this guy. He found a person who's good enough and he's going to work with them as long as they don't screw it up. And so that's what you're going to have to overcome in order to get in front of this guy.
Absolutely. And I can think of a lot of different things that we can do. And again, let's see what happens.
So I was at work and
I get it. Are you interviewing just him, or are you interviewing multiple agents, or?
I don't think that's a bad question. At least he's taking a stab at it. He didn't just roll over and die.
is this your best number I can contact to?
Yeah. I'll shoot you a text right now with my.
So again, we're back to path of least resistance. I'm going to meet with this one first. If it doesn't work, I'll call you, essentially, is what's happening.
Contact info. That way you have it. But
Okay, so yeah, that way, if things don't go well with them, then I'll give you a call.
And I'd love to interview as well.
Okay.
We have a pretty good team and do a lot of transactions every year. We're doing over 160 a year, so
okay.
This year's probably be up in the 200s, but
right.
I'd love to interview for it and show you what we can do. So
okay, y'all sell houses?
Okay, so that is a value proposition, is essentially what he was trying to do. He was trying to attract somebody with a value proposition. It was a very weak one, and in his defense, we're working on improving that. But he said we sell 100 and something houses. We'll probably sell 200, and he really left what that meant for this person very vague. And the most critical issue is he doesn't know what's important to this guy about the sale of his home.
That's what I was. We're trying to close an objection without knowing what the objection is, and that's
exactly, or even what the desired outcome is, right? And so he immediately went to a very weak value proposition to try and change this person's perspective without understanding them and without even articulating a value statement very well.
Well, and here's something I think a lot of agents make a mistake of, and this happens over and over, and not with just this exact scenario, but there's an assumption here that the potential client here knows the significance of someone selling 160 houses. Is 160 houses a lot? Is it a little? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that? I mean, obviously the guy's telling them it's good.
Yeah, this guy could be like, that's weird. Why don't you sell 1,000 or 5,000?
Right, because I know the agent, not this agent, but I know the agent who runs the team here, and good guy, friend of mine. Kind of ironic there, but that's okay. But my point is that, a team selling 160 houses a year, that's great. A brokerage selling 160 houses a year, not so good, and how is this person supposed to know? Because he said we, and he might have said team, but again, team means nothing to the public. Team is an artificial concept that we've created inside of real estate, right?
Right.
They're not even legal entities according to real estate commissions. So it's the thing it's made up. And so we have to be very careful of this. And I'll give you some other warnings. Don't say things like FISBO. Don't use industry jargon, and don't assume that that person has any idea. But before we even get down that road, I love what you said. That was the exact same thing I was thinking of. You know, what are you looking for in a real estate agent? You know, I completely understand that you set it up with this other guy, but out of curiosity, if you don't mind, what are you looking for in a real estate agent? You know, what are you trying to do? You know, get them talking about what the benefit of interviewing this other agent is, so you can close that objection. Because the reason this guy asked for this other guy's phone number is to get him the hell off the phone. It had nothing about, he didn't intend on having a bad experience and calling this guy back.
No.
He just wants to get him off the phone. And if you get,
Right.
you know, hey, give me your phone number, I'll call you back. Yeah, okay, I'll hold my breath. So,
Yeah. And I want to give another good, powerful question that could have been used here. So I let everyone hear how this played out. It doesn't get any better. Let's go back here. And I just want to give people a really good question to ask.
perfect.
You know, it says your best did all that stuff. I was at work and
Oh, wait.
you know, it says your best number I can contact.
Yeah. I'll shoot you a text right now with my
So I'm going to put the question in where I can, because the lead was talking over. He said, yeah, I have somebody's coming out the other day. And then he started to explain or excuse why he's essentially saying no to this salesperson. It's okay. He's a nice guy. And I'll show you where we can inject the question. I'm just going to change what this agent's question is.
contact info. That way you have it. But
Okay, so yeah, that way, you know, if things don't go well with them, then I'll give you a call.
and I'd love to interview as well. You know,
Okay.
we have a
So instead, where was that question where he asked?
Stills realtor.
Oh, here it is.
okay.
Coming in tomorrow. So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was
Are you
I was
interviewing?
at work when I did all that stuff. I was at work and
I get it. Are you interviewing just him, or are you interviewing multiple agents? Or
Not that question. I would change his question. Instead of, are you interviewing multiple agents or just that one? I would ask, how many agents are you interviewing for the job of selling your home? So that I imply that everyone interviews multiple agents. It's just a matter of how many.
Right. And here's another thing. Instead of saying, are you interviewing multiple agents? If you're going to ask that question, you might phrase it a little bit softer. Have you considered that you might want to interview multiple agents?
Yeah.
Because it comes across softer. Are you interviewing multiple agents? No, yes. I mean, but you know, have you considered that you might want to interview multiple agents, you know, for the sale of your house? My guess is it's probably your most valuable asset. Oh, wait.
Yep.
You know, and that's one of those things where it's just a subtle difference. But first of all, the way he asked that question was aggressive, right? Are you interviewing multiple agents? Well, I don't feel I'm staying in rapport. I don't seem to be showing any empathy. You know, I'm way behind already, right? I'm the second agent. He's already booked an appointment with somebody else. I've got to try and figure out how I can get in with this person and try and understand where they're coming from, trying to empathize with them, trying to show them on that. The other thing I would say, and you know, I know this guy's relatively new, just from what you said, but if you're not confident, you need to fake that you're confident. And I don't know how else to say that, but you know, when you're just kind of, and what that means is you need to practice, because, you know, Dal and I listen to, I don't know how many calls we listen to, tons, but one of the things that gets you more often than not is a lack of confidence. And that comes through on the phone. The lead knows that, you know, you and I know that, and, you know, fake it till you make it. You know,
yeah.
pretend like you're the greatest salesperson in the world, even if you're not. So.
Yes. And I would also, you know, this is something that we practice in my company, is stating your value proposition, right? I mean, when we practice it with clients, it's a matter of like, Brian, why should I buy a house through you? Brian, why should I list with you? And you better be able to roll that stuff off. Now, in real life, you shouldn't be a walking, you know, brochure. But you have to be able to say that shit, right? And you heard an example of a very, very weak value statement because he wasn't prepared to drop it. and he didn't have it well practiced. So he can't just whip it out of his back pocket. We save our clients on average X amount, or we net our sellers on average X% to X% higher than any other person in the market. And we also have this USP and this USP that our clients really love. Like, you need to be able to say things like that to that level, because you don't know when you're going to need it.
Here's another thing that we can do too. So we've talked about this briefly, but pacing and leading. And here's what I mean by that. You can ask somebody in this scenario a pace. And just for those of you who didn't hear our episode, we talked about pacing and leading. A pace is something that's true. So the sky is blue, the grass is green. Obviously, that's not beneficial in this situation. But what might have been a pace that you could use here and then follow it up with a lead? And let me kind of explain what I mean. So I'm assuming, sir, that you want to get the most value, to get the most money for your house that you can possibly get. With that in mind, with that in mind, you might consider, if it was me, I would consider interviewing multiple agents to find out who has the best value proposition to get you the most money for your house.
And here's mine.
and you can go into your value propositions, but just doing that pace, when you tell somebody something, it's true. And we all know that the guy wants the most money for his house. 99.9% of the people want the most money for their house. There's going to be some weird exceptions, but I feel like that's a pretty universal thing that I can say to someone selling their house. So I'm assuming you'd like to get the most money possible for your house. And what are you saying? You're saying yes. So with that in mind, do you think it might be a good idea to interview multiple people to make sure that you're hiring the right person for that job? Well, yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. So pace, something that's true, followed by a lead. The lead is something that you want them to do. So it's a pretty universal technique, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, excellent. All right, Brian, what do you got for us today?
Like I said, I got a Zillow call, and it's an interesting call, so I'm going to play it. I've got, and I don't know how well we can see stuff, but I've actually got the MLS pulled up on this house, and basically I pulled comps in the neighborhood because I think it's an interesting part of this conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing this. And
yeah, I mean, if you share your screen, I'm sure we can see it.
Okay, so all right, you know what I'm going to do too? I can go like this. I don't need that.
Is there any kind of terms of use violation showing us? I have no idea.
I don't think so.
Driving by the property 46 and Centerton Road.
Yes, sir.
So I have a question. I was actually looking for this property, and it's been there in the market for about 25, 26 days. The owner is willing to negotiate, or is that the offer?
Actually on market for 13 days. It was pending. Okay, it went pending. It went on the market on May the 14th, went under contract May the 23rd, and then went back on the market again June the 2nd.
Let me ask you
That
something.
means that
What's the purpose of doing all that?
I think he's letting the guy understand that, and this is my personal opinion, what happened. So it hasn't been on the market for 26 days. It was originally listed 26 days ago.
Okay. But I mean, why not just ask the guy, how much do you want to offer on it?
I don't know. We get there,
I might be like, yeah, hey, how much would you like to offer for this house? I want to pay him 1/3 of what it's worth. Fantastic. How long have you been looking for a home? Is this for you or an investment property? Like, whatever. You could say 2 nickels. Let's just qualify you. Do you know what I mean? That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with what he did. I probably would have done it a little quicker, but I talk quicker than just about every agent on our team. So that's, I get there faster. But anyway, we'll listen to a little bit more. I think there's some good things that happened.
Okay.
So they had an offer, and the buyer backed out, basically. So now they're back to square one again. So, we don't know if the seller wants to, negotiate. Well, I'm assuming you're asking if they'll take less than the list price, right?
Yeah, it seems like it's listed for 269, whereas it was sold in 2019 for about 200.
Right, and of course,
so that's one of those things that we're going to have to fight too, and we're going to have to continue to fight that in the future.
Yeah.
And you and I know that's completely irrelevant. What the buyer purchased the house for has absolutely zero to do with what the house is worth today.
I know. I saw a funny meme on Facebook, and it was like a video, and there was a guy showing a couple houses, and it was like, well, if you'd like to look at more expensive homes, I can just show you this one again tomorrow.
That's a great way to put it. Well, and here's another thing though, and I completely get your point because the market's literally going up day by day.
Right.
But here's a flip side to that too. Let's assume the market's not wackadoo. If this guy stole this house for $100,000 2 years ago, he is not required to pass on that savings to you as the new buyer.
Right.
So, and we have to learn to subtly educate people on that. Well, you know what? The guy stole the house, but it doesn't change its value. If you happen to buy something 50% below the market value, there's zero requirement. And by the way, if you bought something for less than 50% value, would you pass that on to the next buyer?
If
No,
you bought
wouldn't.
something using a coupon and saved money, would you make me pay you less for it when I buy it from you? No, you
Absolutely
wouldn't.
not. So, and it's an interesting thing, but again, we have to be subtle about how we do that because you don't want to smack somebody and say you're being an idiot. But this guy's kind of being an idiot because it doesn't matter what the buyer paid for it, right?
Right.
The seller. So anyway.
How long have you been looking at houses?
For a while.
Yeah, and you've seen what's been going on lately. Now, I could find out what happened on that whole thing. Would you like to arrange to look at the house?
No, I'm fine. I don't want to look at the house. I'm okay to kind of put an offer. I looked at the pictures and I'm okay with that area. I just want to make sure that I can negotiate at least to not 260. I would like to negotiate.
Well, of course. What kind of offer would you like to place to them?
There we go.
It's going for at least 269, and when I look at the comparables in that region, there are no more than 230 or 220 to 230. That's the range that I see the neighborhood houses.
Well, and let's say this. So here's a perfect example of why Zillow and Realtor.com are killing us today. This potential client thinks that they pulled comps. They didn't, because I pulled the comps. And first of all, this house is the largest house in the subdivision for sale or has been for sale. So, and it goes out of whack. They got everything selling for 230, 240. Well, here we go. I got one for 264, 251, 250. And by the way, all of these houses are smaller than the subject. So, that's an interesting thing that happens today that didn't happen 5 years ago. Like nobody ever came to me 5 years ago and said, "Hey, Brian, I pulled the comps." What? Are you a real estate agent? No. So, but this is a reality that we're going to have to start dealing with. And I see it more and more today is where potential buyers think that they're pulling comps and they're doing their own CMA. And so, it's just kind of an interesting dynamic that we never ever had to deal with before, but we're going to have to continue to deal with it moving forward.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Asking almost 40 grand more.
Yeah, that's true. And well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Yeah. Go
ahead. Let me do a slight amount of research on this thing.
Okay.
Let me. I'll do a CMA on it to.
Don't say CMA, comparative market analysis.
Right.
To look at the comps, and maybe we could, create a strategy that makes sense. And hey, we could give them an offer, couldn't we?
Okay.
Now I'm assuming that you're pre-approved.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then let's do this. Give me a chance later this evening to do a CMA, which I will email to you. I will text you my name in the meantime. And just so you know, I've been in the business about 13 years now, so this is nothing new to me. I will see what we could do. Maybe we can negotiate a better price for this and be successful.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not paying anything more than 45. Simple. If you can get me a
Okay.
price below that, we can have a chat.
Okay, great.
Anyway, I'm done with that now. So in essence, what the
Did
guy
he
said was,
say, he said if you
45.
can, what's that?
if you can get me 245, I'll buy the house, is basically what he said.
Well, he said we can have a chat.
He said the guy's willing to pay 245.
Got it. Okay. I want to get this dude. This guy has to either meet with me in person or he has to meet with me on video because we need to sort him out. And I'm not going to try to sort him out over the phone because he's totally inaccurate and he thinks he knows everything. So I'm not going to be able, I don't think I'm going to be able to wrestle that shark over the phone. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And here's an interesting thing though. So, when you get aggressive buyers who absolutely are demanding to negotiate, one of the things that I've done in the past, and this is not during this market, it's been during other markets, is I've basically told them what my truth is. And so I probably would have said eventually, hey, by the way, Bob, I don't know the guy's name, one of the things that this is my opinion on what's going to happen. We're going to offer 245 or we're going to offer 240 or whatever number we come up with. The seller is probably going to respond at full price. And I want you to understand that they probably have already had offers higher than 245. Doesn't mean we won't try, doesn't mean that there's not a shot, and I'll work with you to do that. And here's the reason why, because people who would like to negotiate have a perception that realtors are not working on their best behalf. In other words, they just want to get the deal done. They don't care about me. So sometimes, somebody like this, and I've got, 15 minutes in this whole project at this point in time. Even after I write the offer up, I still only have 15 minutes in it. I'm going to write this offer knowing 99.9% chance we're not going to get it. But what I've done is establish my credibility and establish what's going to happen because I know exactly what's going to happen. They're either going to get multiple offers or they're going to get a full price counteroffer. That's what's going to happen. You know it, I know it. And until you can convince a buyer that you are competent to understand exactly what's going to happen, they probably, because other agents probably argued with them. Nope, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do this. This is dumb. Let me tell you why you're stupid. They don't say those words, but when you go in and basically lambast somebody on why they're being stupid, what they hear is, oh, you think I'm stupid. And even if someone is stupid, no one who's stupid wants to hear they're stupid.
No, unfortunately, stupid people are very sure that they're not stupid.
Right. I mean, I've been stupid. I'm going to go out on a limb and say some point in your life, you've been stupid.
Pretty sure that I've been stupid, but I didn't know it.
Right. And very few people who are stupid go, yeah, I'm just stupid. And we're joking about this, but what I mean is more than stupid. Actually, what I'm really saying is ignorant, and ignorant is just lack of knowledge and lack of information. So, there's a lot of people out there who still think that they can bargain. And again, not in a multiple offer, you can't bargain in a multiple offer situation. Right. And that's probably where we're going to end up.
I think that agent we listened to needs some serious role play practice.
It's interesting. I know the guy very well, been an agent for 13 years. That was not his best call.
Yeah, no.
And it's just sometimes people, they get, I think, and I follow what's happening and this is maybe what was happening, I don't know, is that he was thrown off. He felt thrown off by the conversation. I don't even want to see the house. I just want to write an offer. Oh, okay. And the guy's throwing data at him. And the truth of the matter is, in this situation, the potential buyer knew more about the house, knew more about the subdivision, knew more about that little local market than the agent did. And I think that can be challenging.
Thought he did.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, if I'd taken this phone call, I wouldn't have known any more than this agent was. I mean, to narrow down to understand one specific subdivision, you're not going to have all that information right off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Which is why you've got to be able to not worry so much about the house and worry about universal conversations, right?
Yeah.
Time talked about that at length.
Absolutely. I feel like I'd like to just drop a real quick script. I mean, I have, we're at
a couple minutes over. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. So this is probably what I would do, right? So let's role play this. You be the caller.
Okay.
Who wants a deal and how much you want to pay, right? So you ring. I'll answer the phone.
Ring.
Hi, this is Dale with Amazing Realty. How are you?
Hey, Dale. This is Brian. I'm doing great. Looking to look at 123 Main Street.
Oh yeah, great. Are you interested in going to see that property?
Actually, it's not the right way. I've been watching that property. I like it. I looked at it online, and I think I want to write an offer.
Fantastic. How much would you like to offer on it?
I'd like to offer 240. I think it's listed for 260.
Okay, sounds good. Do you want to tell me how much you know and why it's overpriced and yada yada?
Yeah, I've been watching that house, and basically it's been on the market for like 25 days, and there's nothing on the market for 25 days, and all the other houses in that subdivision are selling for, it looks like 230, 240, 225. Why on earth this is listed for 260 just doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, man. So here's how we can do it one of two ways. We can either jump on a video call together and we can go through this offer and structure it and submit it for you, or you can come to my office. Which one do you prefer?
You know what? I think I'd probably like to come to your office.
Great. Come sit in my office so I can show you the comps and show you you're full of shit and see if you can write a real offer.
And that was great. I love what we did. And it's an either or. He didn't say we could just write the offer without that. He said, you can either come to my office or we can do a Zoom call, I think, or whatever video conference.
One or the other.
Great. And I love that you're talking about Zoom, because 2 years ago I would have said, Dale, you shouldn't talk about Zoom. No one knows what Zoom is.
Now guess what? Everybody and their grandmother knows how to do it.
Right. If you haven't been on a Zoom call in the last year and a half, you're unique.
Yes, so that's definitely. Listen, man. One of the good things that one of the few things that came out of this debacle or mess or whatever unfortunate series of events is that now we can jump on video with people, right? We can do video listing appointments. We can do video buyer appointments. We can do video everything. It's great, and it helps build a lot more rapport than just, hey, yeah, I like you. Do you like me? I'm going to call you in a month and see where you're at. Instead, I can get face-to-face with you a little bit more and hopefully beat out those other competitors so that you won't cheat on me and buy a house or sell a house with somebody else.
And let's talk about how important that is. And I'll give you an example. So we do a role play every Friday with our team. And one of the agents on my team, actually, I've been being the buyer and letting the other agents be the agent. And one of the things that we've seen, and Steve, shout out to Steve on my team, he said, you know what I think we should do, Brian? I said, no, what should we do? He goes, you should turn off your camera. He goes, I'm catching expressions from you. I'm noticing that your body language. And he was basically, what he was saying is, you're giving stuff away. And so what I took away from that is absolutely. But the other thing I took away from that is, hey, it really is very true that being on Zoom is a much more effective communication style than being on the phone.
It's damn near like being in person.
This close. I've heard 95%, and I'll take that down a notch. I'll just call it 90%. Well, 90% is good, because you remember this, for all of you guys who don't know this language stuff. So in person, 93% of communication is nonverbal. On the phone, about 50% of communication is nonverbal. I'm going to guess that Zoom falls someplace in between. My point is, you can catch cues, you can catch reactions. You can see that someone's going, all right, yeah, that's great, Dale. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Right, exactly.
So it gives you the opportunity to really get a feel for where you're at, and gives you the opportunity to change gears. If you're boring somebody to death on a video, you can see it. If you're boring someone to death on the phone, you don't know, because you're just talk, and you don't know the other person's going, as soon as he shuts up, I'm going to hang up the phone. So, but on video, I would catch on to that, right?
Yeah, because if they're like, rolling
their eye, yeah. Right. And whether people know it or not, they almost cannot hide their body language. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Good call today. Hope everybody got some good value out of that, some good benefit. And we'll see all of you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dale.